Sorry about that, guys. I just realized my mic was not on. Okay. So, it's happened, folks. America has officially bombed Iran. This is massive. For so many reasons that there's a lot to unpack. Oh boy, is there a lot to unpack. So we're gonna get into the weeds. I can tell you right now that there's going to be a lot of issues that America is going to suffer from this. First of all, and I can't say this enough, Iran has missile and drone capabilities, not on a major global scale to be able to take out America, but Iran has got regional threat missiles. And why that matters is because they have one of the largest missile arsenals in the Middle East. And they've done this in the past where even though they can't send a bomb directly to the United States, they have the ability to strike Iraq, Syria, Qatar, Kuwait, United Emirates, and of course, as you know, Israel, which they already are. They have the ability to attack United States military bases, and they have in the past, causing many I think it was like brain injuries to a lot of American soldiers. I mean, they did it back in 2020. They killed General Soleimani. I can never say his name correctly, but dozens of missiles that they shot at U.S. troops, and I'm sure that that's going to happen now. But let's not just talk about the repercussions on from Iran. I mean, we're gonna be dealing with Hezbollah, the Houthis, the Shiite militias that are in Iraq, in Syria, on American soil. On American soil. Now that America just did that, you can 100% expect bombings across New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. There's going to be terrorist cells that are going to, you watch, and I'm calling it right now, it's going to happen. This is not good. Now, I mean, we could get into cyber warfare, their nuclear threat. If they do actually pose a nuclear threat, I don't know. I don't really believe so. I think the entire thing is a hoax in the first place because we've been hearing Netanyahu tell us for decades that Iran had, they're gonna have a nuke. We've been hearing this for decades. It's never been a reality. I think Jon Stewart actually made a joke recently where he said that Netanyahu talks about Iran having a nuke the way that he roots for the Mets to win the World Series. It's like, it's going to happen this year, right? Such a funny joke because it's very, very true. I mean, Netanyahu told us that Iraq had nukes after 9/11. It was Netanyahu who wanted America to take out Iraq. And we did. We took out Saddam Hussein and we found 0 nukes. 0. Because what America's foreign policy has been since 1991 has been 2 things. Take away the Black Sea from Russia and do the bidding of Netanyahu. That's been America's foreign policy for the past, for as long as, basically, I'm in my mid 40s, and for as long as I can remember, that's what America's foreign policy has been. That's it. It's been keep Russia from being able to use the Mediterranean. Don't befriend Russia after they decided to, back when Gorbachev decided to be, wanted to, convert Russia into a democracy. Did we help? No. We didn't help. What did we do? We decided that it was a good thing that we didn't help them, that Russia needed to remain weak. We didn't encourage their democracy, and it wasn't long before Putin was able to take advantage of that and immediately turn it into an autocracy very quickly. And that's a lot of where America failed. And there's a reason why we formed NATO. And there's a reason why we went after countries like Poland and, in Hungary to partner with them, and why we tried to go after Lithuania and Latvia and those countries. There was strategic decisions as to why we did that. And it was because we've constantly been trying to prevent Russia from being able to have access to the Mediterranean by taking over the Black Sea. And, that's why those countries were strategically critical. And between that, which is a failed policy and has been for a long time, and the doing Netanyahu's bidding, because Netanyahu in Israel obviously has an issue with being surrounded by Muslims who want to kill them. And understandably so. However, Netanyahu is an extremist right-wing Zionist, which takes things to another level. So now we're going to get into the weeds. We're going to talk about this bombing, how it was unconstitutional. Trump did not have the authority of Congress. He violated a major law, a critical law. It's beyond reprehensible. We have a president who is unhinged, off the meat rack. He is literally like, I'm God. I will do whatever I want. I'm a king. I am not bound by any laws. It's unbelievable. But now let's also talk about how 15% of all the oil that China gets comes from Iran. China has literally threatened retaliatory measures against the United States if we interfered with that war at all. So did Russia. So now Trump, unconstitutionally, not going through the will of the American people, but on his own decision, decides to bomb Iran, and now puts us, Americans, in danger of World War III, of retaliatory measures coming from Russia and China, and for many, many reasons. This is going to be an absolute disaster. It was because of the fact that we did this in Iraq, why there was so much political instability. It's what created the Hezbollahs. It's what created ISIS. It's what created the terrorist organizations that attack America on a regular basis in Western culture, and bomb buildings, and so on and so forth. What created that disaster was bombing Iraq, and now we're doing it again in Iran. The instability that will follow in their country. And people say, oh, well, he only did a couple of strikes to basically, strategically blow up a couple of their nuclear sites, is what we're going to hear today. Their nuclear facilities, which, is debatable if they even existed. And who knows if even that's true intel. We have no idea. We have a lot of incompetent people at the top of the administration and at the top of the Department of Defense. So who knows? But what I can tell you is that it's going to escalate. This is going to escalate. Again, I gave this analogy in the past. I'm going to give this analogy again. When it comes to two guys in a bar, a guy walks up to a guy and and they're both drinking. And he looks at a guy and he says, or he looks over at one, guy one looks at guy two and he says, fuck you looking at. Guy two has a couple of options. He can escalate it or he can de-escalate it. Okay? Guy two could look at him and say, you know what? I don't know why you thought I was looking at you. I didn't mean to offend you. I wasn't trying to look at you, man. It's all good. Now, people would say, oh, what are you, a pussy? Oh, is he a pussy? You can say whatever you want, but what we call that is diplomacy. We call that diplomacy. We call that having the courage to not care how it makes you look in that moment, because you know that where it's going to escalate to and what's going to follow if that happens is severely worse, much worse than if, you know, how you look in that moment. That's called diplomacy. Now, if you look at that guy and you say, oh, what am I looking at? Or what are you looking at? Huh? What are you looking at? And then he says, what do you say? You talking to me? And he says, yeah, you talking to me? That's called escalation. That's what Trump did with the Iranian leaders. That's what he did. He escalated this. He wasn't trying to avoid war. He was trying to get involved with war. And make no mistake about it. I mean, we have a Secretary of State who's a warmonger. We have Pete Hegseth at the head of the Department of Defense who's a warmonger. We have warmongers in office right now. These people want war. American foreign policy has been a failed trash project since 1991. Because we consistently and repeatedly keep listening to Netanyahu, getting false information. Our intelligence agencies have already come out and said that there's absolutely zero evidence that Iran has any nuclear capability at all. That's literally what they said. What did Trump say? Oh, I'm not going to listen to them. I'm not listening to them. I don't want to listen to anything that they say. No. You're going to listen to me. We know that they're... Okay, you're a buffoon. And you can't even, like, are you kidding me? I'm not even going to go into the incompetence of Donald Trump. But at the end of the day, what makes you think that you know more than the intelligence agency? And now you want to try to convince the American people that you bomb nuclear sites? That's what you're telling people? Anyway, let's listen to what he announced. Oh, and give me one moment, guys. I'm going to turn this AC off because I think it's bleeding through. Sorry about that, guys. I do all this from California. It gets pretty hot out here. Okay, so let's listen to what he says. Why am I not getting volume? What's going on here? Hold on a minute, guys. We might have an issue. Give me 1 second here. Thought this was already set up. No, it wasn't. Okay, it is now. All right, let's get to the nitty gritty. Still doing this? Oh, I don't think there is sound.
Carried out.
There we go. Okay, there was no sound. That's what it was. Okay.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities.
Illegally. He did this illegally. It is illegal. Extremely illegal to bomb a country without Congress. To bomb a country without Congress voting on it is extraordinarily illegal. He needs to be impeached immediately. This is not a game. This is not a joke. This is the most serious crime I've ever seen a president commit on American soil. In my life, I'm a very proud historian. I know a lot about my American history. I'm well versed. And I could tell you that there's not a single president in American history who's ever committed an act this criminal. That being said, let's continue.
In the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success, Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
All four people that you see on camera right now are warmongers, notorious known warmongers, all four of them. This is the most incompetent criminal administration that has ever existed in United States history. The most incompetent criminal administration in American history.
Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight and all of the United States military on an operation.
The people who flew those machines tonight are not American patriots. And the reason why they're not American patriots is because they committed an act of war without going through Congress. They allowed a president to give an unlawful order. They swore an oath to the United States Constitution, and they allowed the president to give an unlawful order, and they acted on that unlawful order, which makes them the exact opposite of patriots. It makes them criminals. And just following orders has never flied in the court of law, and it ain't going to fly now. They had a sworn duty to deny that order. They had a sworn duty to deny dropping bombs on anyone or anything without the United States Congress voting on it. This is the most egregious crime that I have seen this administration commit, which is to say something, considering that they have committed quite a few insane crimes since they've been on U.S. soil. Since they've been elected into the White House. This is the most incompetent, most criminal administration in U.S. American history.
The likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so.
It's not going to be so, Trump. It's not going to be so. Because you punched the guy in the bar. You punched him in the face. And now he's on the ground, right? And you're thinking, yeah, I punched that guy in the face, and I'm hoping I don't have to throw any more punches. Oh, brother, you're going to have to throw more punches. And now you've actually just dropped bombs on a country that is part of BRICS. Yeah, part of BRICS, which is basically the most powerful union on the planet right now between India and China and Russia and the United Emirates. This is a big deal. This isn't just going to be like, oh, there goes America. They bombed a few spots. Everyone learn now. Everyone go home now. Oh, no, this is not good. And he just started something that's going to affect the course of everyone's life in America for the next decade, easily. Economically, from possible direct military strikes. It's going to affect U.S. troops all over the globe. There's going to be proxies and terrorism, Hezbollah. There's going to be cyber attacks. There's going to be financial and electoral and infrastructure places being targeted by cyber attacks, possibly nukes, if not from Iran, then from their allies. There's This is going to create economic destabilization in the region. This is going to cause more terrorist groups to rise up, more hatred and disdain for the United States after we've alienated all of our allies like Mexico and Europe and Canada, and we're now alone on the world stage. This is catastrophic.
I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military.
Everyone's spectacular who does what he says. And anyone who doesn't do what he says is a horrible, horrible anti-American. I mean, everything out of this fucking guy's mouth is rhetoric and garbage.
Minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed.
You watch and see. There's about to be some serious retaliation.
Over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal.
The hardest and most difficult targets and the most lethal and the most insane thing that could have ever been pulled off in military history was pulled off by me, the greatest and most powerful man of all, the Wizard of Trump. Only I could have done something so strategic and so wonderful and so absolutely spot on and so historic and so monumental. Only I could have bombed these people in the way that was the most critical and strategic. And I mean, dude, it's just, oh my God.
But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can.
You don't get peace when you drop bombs. Dropping bombs does not get peace. Peace through strength, the idea that peace through strength, or that peace is gotten through strength, when they say strength, they're referring to having the strength and courage to be diplomatic. That's what that means. You think you're going to get peace after you drop bombs? America's in big trouble.
Can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago.
By the way, polls were in, and like 76% of Americans were against this. And it was higher than that till Trump started, like, you know, putting the pressure on all of his right-wing podcasters, telling them all, you need to stop saying that it's unpopular. Dude, the most right-wing podcaster in the world, Charlie Kirk, literally did a poll on his own YouTube channel, and it was like 92% of his base said that they didn't want this to happen. And what happened? The Trump administration called him and said, you better walk that back. Stop saying that. You need to, like, tell people you trust Trump and tell people you trust the administration. So now Charlie Kirk did. So now that number has rose to like 24% of Americans that now support this. But literally, it was like in the 90s. It was in the 90s for the percentage of people that were against this. And he did it anyways without going through Congress.
Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon.
Oh, he won't just have a press conference. He's about to actually have another congressional hearing because they just committed a crime. They just committed war crimes.
And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular.
And then Trump has just the arrogance and the stupidity of this man to come out and stand behind that podium and admit to war crimes.
God, I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Every single American soldier that acted on this order needs to be dishonorably discharged from the United States military. Stat. That's the truth. And this idiot needs to be impeached because the danger that he just brought about our country and the issues that we are going to face because of the dangers or because of his stupid illegal act we're in uncharted territory, guys, because I mean, we did bomb Iraq. We did do this to Iraq years ago, and George Bush did support that. And yes, we were listening to Netanyahu, just like we're listening to Netanyahu now, and we're doing, and that's because AIPAC, who Israel owns, which is a super PAC that Israel uses to bribe politicians. They own every single right-wing politician and about 75% of every left-wing politician. So the vast majority of every single person who is supposed to represent the American people represent Israel and represent what Israel wants. America is no longer a country with our own identity anymore. We are the puppets of Israel. They send boatloads of money into the United States through AIPAC, and they bribe and they own every politician in the United States, except for 25% of the left. AOC, Bernie Sanders, those people are not owned by AIPAC. I believe Charlie Murphy is also not owned by AIPAC. There's a small few. I believe also there is one right-wing Republican who is also not owned by AIPAC, and his name is Thomas Massey. But at the end of the day, this guy needs to be impeached, and every single soldier in the United States military who carried out this unlawful order needs to be immediately dishonorably discharged from the United States military. And that's where I'm at with it. So let's
many big questions here tonight. What did the president see that made him believe that there was absolutely no more hope of that? So much so that he was going to take action and do something that he, long promised he wouldn't do. But I think just as much as the president has long said that he, was not going, that he was hoping for negotiations, even longer he has promised that Iran simply cannot have a nuclear weapon. One of the things looking forward that is important to keep in mind, and as you were just discussing, how long of a solution is this? Because to truly prevent Iran from having a nuclear weapon, you are likely going to need this kind of a deal. Presumably, whatever capabilities have been now destroyed, they could once again get back to this position, whether it's, several years down the line. So, how long of a solution, how lasting a solution is this? But I think it will be interesting, certainly. We will be listening closely to the president coming up here shortly as to what led him to finally put the country, to put himself in a position.
Do you see how ABC is not even reporting that he did this unconstitutionally? You know why? I'm going to show you why. The reason why that's happening, and the reason why ABC is not doing that, okay? We're going to move this over here. And let me just put this tab in here really quick. Is because, all right, I'm going to show you guys something here really quick. We're going to say, is Donald Trump suing ABC and/or has he threatened them for reporting stories on him he disagrees with? So, as you can see, I'm going to zoom in here. Yes, Donald Trump has both sued. Can you guys see this? Yeah, you can see this. Okay. Donald Trump has both sued ABC News and more recently threatened to sue the network over coverage he didn't like. He actually sued ABC News and George Stephanopoulos in March 2024. He filed a defamation lawsuit in federal court in Miami, naming ABC News and anchor George Stephanopoulos. He claims Stephanopoulos falsely stated during a segment that Trump had been found liable for rape in the E. Jean Carroll case. Although that case involved the jury finding Trump liable for sexual abuse, so in other words, it was a true statement. The statement was misleading, and Trump sued over reputational damage. The case progressed until July 2024 when a judge denied Stephanopoulos' motion to dismiss, meaning the lawsuit could move forward. On December 14, 2024, ABC News agreed to settle. They paid $15 million to Trump's presidential library. That library is unbelievable. And $1 million toward his legal fees, plus issued an on-air apology expressing regret. He's threatened to sue ABC again recently, last month, June 2025. That's actually this month. Trump publicly threatened legal action against ABC News over a story criticizing him for a rumored $400 million Boeing 747 allegedly gifted by Qatar. Trump called the report false and defamatory, said ABC's coverage unfairly attacked him. Oh, Jesus. This follows a pattern. Even after settling the Stephanopoulos defamation case, Trump has continued to threaten lawsuits against outlets he sees as biased or dishonest. That, my friends, is anti-free speech and anti-freedom of the press. And that is why this is the most corrupt, most criminal president in American history. Okay? So now we get back to this. That's why they're not even bringing it up. They're afraid to. The news media is afraid to bring up the fact that Trump did this illegally because they're afraid it'll be another threat to revoke their media license, to not allow them access into the White House, and all this stuff simply because they report things factually that he don't like. So that's where we are, folks.
That he said
we have a president that drops bombs illegally, who threatens the media if they try to talk about it, who threatens to revoke the law licenses of law firms who represent people who want to sue him. This is the most criminal president, the most incompetent and most criminal president in American history.
He wouldn't be in. What changed his mind to make him decide to drag America even further into this conflict? We know he was facing tremendous pressure from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm told they have talked this evening after the strikes. Obviously, the U.S. gave Israel a heads up as well. We know ahead of these strikes, so signs that they've been working closely and have been closely coordinated on all of this. But the president, we know it also weighed heavily on him, the deep divisions in his own party over this. He's really, we have seen this playing out very publicly over the last few days. Those in his party.
I'm looking at these comments. Slim Midwest. So, okay, so all right, buddy. So you want to come in here and say the mainstream media has Trump derangement syndrome? No, my man. You have Joe Biden derangement syndrome. You are completely delusional because Trump is doing things egregiously illegal. This is a fact. It is a fact. And for you to sit there and act like it's Trump derangement syndrome to call out a criminal president for doing things that are actually illegal, where literally the courts have ruled against him now dozens and dozens of times. They have ruled against him. 6 out of 9 of which are Republican and 3 are MAGA that he put on the bench. And they've ruled against him. But we can't say that, or we have Trump derangement syndrome. My guy, you're a part of a cult.
That wanted him to hold out for talks versus those who are urging him to get more directly involved in this conflict. So we will wait and see what we hear from the president here in just a few moments.
And Mary, I'd like to follow up on that because we know this meeting happened tonight between the president and his national security advisors. His director, his DNI director, Tulsi Gabbard, expressed a difference of opinion from the president on how far along Iran was or their intentions on developing a bomb. The president said recently that, well, she was wrong. So that just like highlighting some of the divide, or at least the difference of opinions there. Do we know who is in the room?
I love how I love how these idiots that come in my fucking show that are fucking retarded and don't know shit. They're fucking idiots. And they come in here and they say the stupidest shit that I've ever seen with such arrogance, with smiley faces and laughter faces like they're, I'm so right, when they're so fucking dumb and cooked and idiotic. You fucking idiots are the stupidest fucking, you MAGA people are the dumbest fucking people in American history. You're fucking idiots. You're brain dead. You have no education. You don't understand law. You don't know anything about politics. You come in here and you fucking comment inside my fucking shit like, is it like, get the fuck off my channel. Like, go somewhere else. All you're doing is lowering the bar. You're lowering the IQ level with your fucking stupid ass shit. Like, I don't want you here. Block my channel and go somewhere else. Like, I mean, I've never seen anything like it in my life. You come in here with such fucking arrogance, like as if you know what you're talking about. You're fucking idiots. You're buffoons. I like, literally, you could call me right now and I'll put you live on my channel and we can have a debate. And I bet you I could ask you 5 questions, 5 basic questions about fundamentals of government, and you can't even answer it. I can ask you 5 basic questions about the fundamentals of economics, and you can't answer it. I can ask you to tell me where Lithuania is located on a map, and you can't tell me that. You probably don't even know how to spell Lithuania. But yet you're in here and you want to smiley face it up with your fucking comments like you're so righteous, and it's just fucking unbelievable. It's appalling. You people are fucking the most fucking idiotic people, and the reason why we're losing our democracy is because of how stupid people like you are.
Was Gabbard in the room there as part of this discussion tonight?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Look, the president has been meeting daily at this point for the last week with his national security team here at the White House, many times in the Situation Room. But it does just crystallize this deep divide within the party, and not just within the party writ large, but even, signs that there was this divide within his administration itself. And so it really...
Yeah, there was a divide within his administration because literally more than half the Republicans didn't even want to bomb Iran. More than half the Republicans didn't want to bomb Iran. Nobody wanted to bomb Iran. Nobody. Except for a few, actually, when it was first discussed, almost nobody wanted to bomb Iran. Tucker Carlson was against it. Ben Shapiro was for it, but gee, I wonder why, right? Ben Shapiro, of course, is 100% in support of anything that helps Jewish people no matter what. And not that I don't love my Jewish people, because I do. I'm even kind of partly Jewish. My father's Jewish, so I guess I'm not by technical definition. But I do have a grandmother who is 100% Jewish. And I can honestly say that, I was in support of Israel throughout a lot of this in the very beginning, because I've always been anti the terrorism and so forth. And I knew that America killed 450,000 people when, we were attacked on 9/11. And so I had the mindset that I was here to support Israel. And I'm always in support of Israeli people. I'm always in support of Israeli people and Jewish people across the board. What I'm not in support of is a right-wing lunatic leader like Netanyahu, who keeps getting my country caught up in foreign wars that we shouldn't really be involved in for no reason, who's done this repeatedly now off of misinformation, who uses his money and his power to bribe, to send money to AIPAC in the United States and use AIPAC to bribe American politicians to do the bidding of Israel. I am sick of it. Everyone is sick of it. Everyone in the right-wing party is sick of it too. Everybody is. We're tired of it. And does Trump listen to the American people? No, he does not give a fuck about the American people. He does everything that he can to line his pockets. The criminal crypto coin that he put out was like, oh, I'm going to put out a crypto coin and I'm going to scam everybody while I'm president. The most corrupt and illegal thing that's ever been done in American history from any president ever until this. It's egregious. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about what the American people want, because he just says, I'm going to do this because I'm king. I don't need to answer to no laws or no court or no fucking Congress. And that's the thing, man. America, fundamentally, America and what makes America America is due process. It is due process of the law. It is understanding that we have checks and balances. Just because your president won doesn't mean that we still don't have Democratic senators and House representatives who represent us. That's the balance of power. When Obama was president, there was lots of Republican senators and Congress people that were or senators and representatives all throughout America who still represented Republicans and what they wanted. That is the checks and balances of power. That's why we have to put things through Congress. That's the whole purpose of why we do what we do in the United States. When you have a president who stands up there and says, I'm not going to go through Congress because I'm going to just do whatever I want because I say I have a mandate and I say that I have the right to do whatever I want, that is king behavior. That is monarchy behavior. That is dictatorship behavior. This is the same exact thing that Putin did to overthrow democracy in Russia. It's the same exact thing that Mussolini did to overthrow democracy in Italy. It's the same exact thing that Adolf Hitler did to overthrow democracy in Germany. We have seen this before. This is exactly what happens historically. Now, am I of the view that Trump is going to go and, kill Jews? No, obviously he's doing the opposite. He's killing for Jews with American taxpayer dollars and getting involved in wars that we really don't have any business being in. And fundamentally, he's going to cause lots of attacks on America now, both through terrorism, proxy attacks, cyber attacks. We're going to have all kinds of issues now with foreign trade. China is very upset about this because 15% of their oil comes from Iran. This is a serious problem. This is a serious issue. And we have a lot to lose from this. I mean, this is serious. We have American soldiers on American bases that are within the range of Iraqi missiles. Iranian missiles. We have people on American bases that are within range. They attacked us before in 2020. What's to say they can't do it again? And you can absolutely guarantee they're going to do it now, because we've come and we've bombed their nuclear sites. this nuclear weapon that we keep hearing that they're going to have sometime for 30 years. And this is irreprehensible. It's a reprehensible foreign policy. It's a reprehensible that a president would do this illegally. He needs to be impeached. And every single United States person in the Marines who acted on these orders, unlawful orders, needs to be immediately removed from the United States military stat, because you violated your oath. You violated your oath to the Constitution. And that's just the bottom line. So, dishonorably discharged, Susan. Dishonorably discharged. They need to be dishonorably discharged immediately. This president is a criminal. He's put everybody in the United States in danger with his criminal actions. And he needs to be impeached immediately.
Remains to be seen what it was that finally sort of pushed the president in this direction, a direction that we know he long resisted.
At the White House for us. Thank you so much. We'll check back with you in just a bit. I want to go back to Steve Ganyard. Steve, we were just obviously talking about more about the strike, the B-2s, as we were getting confirmation of the different aircraft involved. And then we had the nuclear expert on talking about some of these other parts and pieces and suggesting that perhaps maybe this did not inflict as much of a setback on Iran as maybe the White House is hoping. And I just want to get your response to that, and some of the challenges that could still exist with some of these other parts and some of this other material that might be hidden in other places.
Yeah, Whit, I think nobody knows. And that's the answer. That's the only answer we have at this point. We're going to have to figure out what the bomb damage assessment is. Clearly, Israelis will have people on the ground. But I don't think anybody, it's almost a straw man to say, well, it's not going to fix everything. Well, of course it's not going to fix everything. But it got pushed to a point where the president made a determination that the Iranians were not serious. They came out of the meetings with the Europeans and they said, yeah, whatever, we'll see. We can talk again if you want. So they've made it clear that they aren't interested in further discussions. They aren't interested in further negotiations. So the president made the determination that he would go in and take out what the Israelis could not. And so how much gets taken out, how much it gets set back, how much damage is done to the program, we just don't know. And to say, well, there's intellectual capital and there are scientists there. Well, the Israelis have taken out almost 200 of the top military leadership and chief scientists within the program. That's remarkable. So let's wait and see. And let's not build straw men and just say, well, you never know, because we don't know.
Steve Ganyard, thank you. I want to go back to Ian Panel as we're sort of talking about what happens tomorrow, Ian. I know you've covered the fall of many regimes and the awful aftermath that has taken place. You spent a lot of time in Syria, and many people are going to be asking questions. You know, what happens to the Iranian regime after this, the Ayatollah, if this campaign continues?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that a lot of these regimes live and fall on their ability to project, domestically at least, strength and power, and therefore to intimidate people, potential opposition. We see multiple times thousands of brave Iranians come on the street to challenge the regime. The question is, if the regime of Ayatollah Khamenei is seen as diminished, as weakened, as vulnerable, will that be enough to bring people out on the streets? But we also shouldn't forget that for many Iranians, they're also living in a state of fear. They're living in the middle of a bombing campaign that they didn't initiate, that they can't control, and that in and of itself doesn't necessarily inspire people to take to the streets.
I'm gonna actually make another point that I think is a key and vital point, and that point is that even if no deaths occurred, even if Trump didn't kill a single person, even if Trump dropped bombs just on machines, or what they're dubbing nuclear sites, where only equipment was destroyed to kind of keep them from shooting weapons. And let's say that strategically that works, and now, Iran has no way to attack anyone or whatever, right? Which I can almost guarantee you is not the case. But let's just say hypothetically, in a perfect world for Trump, that's exactly what happened. It's still illegal and it's still impeachable. You cannot ask the U.S. military to drop bombs on anyone or anything without going through Congress. You can't do that. This is a constitutional crisis of epic proportions, and we need to do something about it.
Ian Panel Forrest, thank you so much. Again, we are having continuing coverage right now. These American strikes, 3 of them at different nuclear sites across Iran. President Trump is about to address the nation coming up at 10 o'clock. Our David Muir is going to be part of our continuing coverage here.
Okay, so I don't know, guys. I think that I'll just leave you with that for now. And I want to say to those of you who see this that I'm going to be making some changes with my podcast. And what that is that I actually want to start interviewing people. It's what I originally set out to do when I started it in the first place. And those of you who've seen the interviews with Pete Novak in the past, those of you who saw the interviews with Seth Binzer of Crazy Town and all those interviews I did back in the day, that was my intention, was to keep going with that. And it's been difficult since COVID. It caused all kinds of problems. People wouldn't travel out to see you or visit you for your podcast anymore. And so now I've got things set up where I'm going to be able to start interviewing people over Zoom, where I could do it live right over my YouTube. And that's what's going to happen. I've already got about 9 people that I'm going to be interviewing, and I'm building it up, and it's filling up daily. I have a lot of very important people that have already agreed. I have everything from a Grammy Award winner to a politician to people that are very successful in the entertainment industry. I have quite a few interesting guests that are going to be on the show, but that's going to be where I'm going, because I want my show to be hopeful, and I want it to be interesting through conversations. And I feel like a lot of times it ends up with these type of podcasts, I sort of have to become, it's all about me and, sitting here and keeping the show active. And in a lot of ways, I'm more interested in other people, and I like to talk to other people, and I like to get feedback from them about many things. So this show moving forward is going to be a show that is going to be completely and solely about conversations. with people that I think are great, but also that I think have a lot to offer the world with things that they have to say, their knowledge, their experience, their story. So that's going to be what I do from here on out. So for those of you who are interested in seeing that, for those of you who watch this video to the end, and if you like the video and subscribe to the video, then, you know, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because there's going to be a lot of content coming down the pipeline. So I hope to see you guys in the future. And yeah, I will end it on this note. This president is incompetent. He is the most incompetent and most criminal president we have ever had in American history. He needs to be impeached immediately, and any soldier who obeyed those unlawful orders needs to be dishonorably discharged from the United States military ASAP. That's where I end on this. And aside from that, thanks, guys.